Hey guys, welcome to another video in the digital marketing course. My name is Pritesh and I create educational content for learners like you. Today we are going to discuss a very important and exciting topic called web analytics. There are a ton of questions that people have when it comes to this topic. For example, what is web analytics? What are the different tools? How do you get into web analytics? Is it a good career option? If you have any of these questions, you have come to the right place. After all, my channel is your best go-to source for anything and everything related to sales and marketing. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. First things first, what do you mean by the term web analytics? The term web analytics is divided into two parts, web and analytics. Web means everything online. For our purpose, we'll talk about a website. Whereas analytics simply means to analyze our website and find meaningful insights that will help us to optimize our content on the website or maybe user interface so that they perform better and maybe we get better sales or conversion. Hence, web analytics is nothing but the process of identifying and investigating the performance of our website in context of improving its traffic or conversion. Analyzing the content of your website is not a one-time process. In short, web analytics is a continuous process that you must continue from quarter to quarter, month to month, depending on your business goals and what you want to achieve from your data analysis. By consistently analyzing the data and performance of your website, you will be able to optimize user experience as well as benefit from such change. What are the different types of web analytics? Primarily, there are two types of web analytics. The first one is on-site and the other one is off-site. What do I mean when I say on-site and off-site? It's very simple. On-site means everything that you do on your website. Off-site means everything that you do around and outside your website to optimize user experience. On-site analytics primarily also means you want to analyze your user behavior, their sources, their geography, their demographics, etc. By default, when we talk about web analytics, it is assumed we are talking about on-site analysis. The main idea behind performing web analytics is to identify and pitch the actual results against your business goals. Web analytics reports are very important and they provide meaningful information. For example, top management of companies can use this data to identify the gaps in sales and find out the reasons why the sales has dropped. Let me give you an example. Let's say the KPI or the key performance indicator of a business is to have 200 visitors a day. The actual reports show that there are only 50 visitors on the website per day. So you clearly see there's a gap of 150 visitors per day and you identify and find out what can be done to bring those 150 deficit visitors per day. So far so good. Let us now talk about web analytics process. So if you're a newcomer, a freelancer or someone who just started a small business, the question is very pertinent, especially if you have no idea about web analytics. The question you'll have is exactly what do you do in web analytics and what is the process? How do you get started? Let me break this to you. It's very simple. Here's how. Let us go back to the basics. What do you want to achieve from your business? What are your business goals? It should definitely go back to your website. It should relate to your website content. For example, if you are running a small business, one of your business goals could be to have $200,000 of revenue every month. Or maybe you want to drive website traffic. You could say, I want 2,000 to 5,000 visitors every month to my website store. So the first step is identify 3 to 4 SMART goals for your business. Once you do that, the next step for you to take is identify the KPIs. What I simply mean is for you to identify and define your key performance indicators that you're going to use at the end of the day when you are using this report to pitch actual versus your goals. Mind you, the KPIs are nothing but also your metrics that you're going to use at the end of the day in your reporting. Step number 3 is to start collecting data from your website. Now the question within this question would be, how do you start collecting data in the first place? So here's how you can collect some of the data of your users from your website. For example, you can use cookies that will identify and give you insights about your customers or your visitors. One of the simplest ways these days to collect data is simply use Google Analytics and integrate it with your website. So for example, if you're using WordPress and you integrate Google Analytics with WordPress, it automatically places the important codes on your website for tracking purposes. A tip when you're collecting data, make sure that your company employees and yourself are excluded from the results of the number of visitors to your website. It simply helps you to avoid duplication. For example, let's say in a day there are 100 visitors to your website, out of which you realize that 50 visits are by your employees. You want to make sure that the data you collect excludes your employees and you. This gives you accurate information of the target audience that is captured on an everyday basis on your website. So how do you exclude yourself or your employees from such data counting? It's very simple. For example, if you're using Google Analytics, you can simply add your IP address, and along with your address, you can add all the addresses of your employees so that those results are excluded when the results come out. The next logical step is simply to analyze the data that you have collected. Okay, now you know that you need to analyze the data that you have already collected. Bravo! But my question to you is, what are you going to analyze once you have received the data? Some of the key metrics that you need to focus on is nothing but how you got your visitors, what are they doing on your website, how much time they are spending on your website, how long have they spent on a particular page or an event, how have they exited the website, what is the average page duration per visitor, what devices your visitors have used when they arrived to your website. Are they using cell phones? Are they using Mac? Are they using Windows PC? All of this information is very important. Next, you can actually also analyze which countries and cities your visitors are coming from. Great, so now you have received the data and you have analyzed it. The next logical step is to optimize based on the results that you have just discovered. By optimize, it simply means to simply tweak your data on your websites in a way that is better presented to your customers. They should now have better experience on your website. They should stay on your pages longer. They should click the items that you want them to click on your website. Make sure that you give them a good checkout experience. Make sure that you give them a great customer journey on throughout your website. Analysis gives you all the important lags and gaps of your website that you need to improve on. By optimizing your website, you are making sure that you are closing all the loops and holes and tightening the noose to make sure that the customer engages more with you and stays on your website as much as possible. Remember that the more the visitor stays on your website, the more the possibility for them to buy from you. Let us now look at the different tools that are available to you in Web Analytics. Well, there are always paid and free services available for everything in the world out there. So is the case with Web Analytics. The number one tool that I will suggest to you is use Google Analytics. It also makes sense to use Google Analytics because the Google search engine ranks number one in the world. It has a market share of more than 90% of all the searches in the world. So why not use analytics and make sure that you tighten the noose on the customer and bring them home? I keep saying the word tighten the noose on the customer. Don't get me wrong. Tighten the noose simply means giving more value, more information, making sure you educate, entertain, and excite the customer. That's about it, right? The things I just mentioned in terms of what you need to track, you can do all of that on Google Analytics. As you log in, you will see on the left hand side of the bar, you have information on your audience, your acquisition, your conversion, and attribution. You can also identify the percentage of your traffic coming from organic as well as paid channels. You can also bifurcate the traffic that arrives to your website in 3 to 4 different segments. For example, direct, social, referral, email, and organic. Just imagine for a second that your goal was to have 1,000 visitors per month and you are getting 1,000 visitors per month. However, they are coming from different percentages of different segments. What do I mean when I say this? For example, you had targeted organic search to contribute 40% to your total visitors. However, in reality, only 10% contributes to organic search. What it means that even though that your goal and your action is matching, you still need to work and tweak your strategy to make sure that you get 40% from organic and not 10% from organic search. Another tool that a lot of you must have not heard about is called Woopra. What really sets Woopra apart from the others is their ability to give you live insights and information about your customers that are visiting your website. For example, you can track in real time the number of people who are visiting your website. You can also interact with these people one-on-one when they visit your website using the live chat option. Another important tool that I want to share here with you is called Mouse Flow. As the name suggests, Mouse Flow primarily tracks the mouse clicks and keystrokes that each visitor takes on your website. I do not know if you have heard about something known as heat maps, but heat maps is another feature provided by this particular platform. Heat map can be explained as nothing but an X-ray of your website page. How a heat map can look like, I'm sharing that picture somewhere here so you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's a simple image of your web page with different clusters of colors. If you see a lot of colors congregating in one particular spot, it means that particular event or that particular section of your web page has been the most popular amongst your visitors. Heat map is a very good way to find out micro information about where your visitors are visiting on a particular web page. It can also give you information on which sections your customers find interesting, they engage with, and the sections that they don't engage with and they ignore simply. You can then tweak your strategy and make sure that your customers visit the exact sections that you want them to visit on every page. Another cool feature of this particular platform is called Session Replay. If you've gone to a big hypermarket or supermarket, you must have seen cameras all around the store. These cameras are placed to monitor the employees, to see the stock, as well as see the customer movement in the store. Imagine you can place something like that on your website. What it simply means that you can replay what your customer had done few moments ago on your website. It becomes very clear to you in terms of what your customers have done on each of your web pages, and you can tweak your strategy accordingly, optimize your pages, and get better results. There are 3 more features that are included in this platform, and I'll not talk about them in detail here, but those are nothing but conversion funnels, form analysis, and feedback campaigns. If you're really interested in this platform, make sure that you visit the website and find out more on each of these features. If we are talking about website analytics, we cannot miss the mammoth and the beautiful Adobe Analytics at all. Adobe has a state-of-the-art award-winning analytics tool that gives you all the information that you need to increase your conversions and grow your business. However, the trick is that this platform is not available to you for free. So my suggestion to you is that if you are a freelancer or you're just starting out your small business, then avoid this particular platform at all costs and go for Google Analytics, which is available to you for free. Apart from that, I also want to discuss with you some of the glossary terms that are important you need to know in web analytics. If you have ever done some homework about web analytics and the kind of reporting, you must have heard and come across this word called hits. It simply means how many times a visitor has clicked on your web pages as well as your website. It also means the total number of visitors who have clicked on either your web pages as well as your website. What I want you to remember for future as well as for this video is that when I talk about a hit, it simply means a web page visit. A page view or a page visit is nothing but a simple page on your website that contains information like files, graphics, images, etc. When someone visits your web page and looks from top to bottom at all of these particular units that I've discussed or elements that I've just discussed, it simply means one particular page view. Another important term you want to know is called event. What is an event on a website? An event is nothing but a trigger that takes place on your website. Let me give you an example. Let's say I want to conduct a webinar for my students. This webinar is going to take place next week, and what I do is I make sure that I put all of this information on my website. When I put all this information on my website, I also make sure that I put a submit button that includes a form for anyone who is interested to join my webinar. Now let's say the visitors have started coming back to my website and they happen to see this particular information on the right hand side of my website about the webinar due next week. Out of 1,000 visitors, let's say there are 50 to 60 visitors who are really interested to register for the webinar. They simply click the button so that they can fill up the form and register themselves. This particular click that occurs on that particular box is nothing but a trigger. And this trigger is nothing but an event that is registered in Google Analytics. You can exactly find out how many people clicked on a particular link. For example, in my case, I could find out how many people exactly are interested in my webinar or not. Another important metric or term is called session. Again, let's understand about sessions with an example. Let's say I visit the website called bbc.com. In one particular visit, I spend 7 to 8 minutes and I browse different web pages. I go to the international section. I also go to Europe. I also find out different videos that are available that are trending on bbc.com. After visiting 7 to 8 minutes on bbc.com, I decide to leave the site and go elsewhere. These 7 to 8 minutes that I spend on this website is nothing but one particular session. You can exactly track how many sessions you had from your customers or your prospective customers on your website. Now let me give you another example. Let's say I visit this website and I stay there for 30 minutes, 50 minutes or an hour. Or maybe let's say I visit this website and maybe I leave my computer on and I go down to do something out of my house. How do you calculate a session in this case? Well, to answer your question, this is pretty simple. What happens is that automatically your session gets a reset after 30 minutes. Do note that 30 minutes reset is not a rule. 30-minute reset is nothing but a best practice that people use in analytics. Another important glossary term is unique visitor. As the name says, unique visitor is unique. They have a specific ID in terms of their IP address. Do not get confused between unique visitors and page views. One unique visitor can actually visit 100 pages or have hundreds of page views. If you're registering with me so far and if you have any questions, don't forget to mention them in the comment section. I'll be happy to help you. Another one is new versus repeat visitor. Now you might think that why is it so important to track new versus repeat visitor? Well, it is important because you see, new visitor is someone who has visited your website for the first time. Repeat visitor, as the name says, is a person who has repeatedly visited your website or your web pages. It is important because you want to make sure that every month you have more repeat visitors to your website. It helps you in building your brand, trust and loyalty. And do you know what happens when a customer really trusts you and has loyalty towards you? They buy products and services from you. You must have heard about the next metric often in social media especially. It's called impression. An impression is nothing but how many times your page has been made available in front of your customer. In other words, how many times your page is visible to the customer or your prospective customer. What are the different benefits of web analytics? Here's the different benefits of web analytics for you. The biggest benefit is that you get to measure what's happening on your website. What's the point of having goals or smart goals if you cannot measure them? Measuring whatever is going on your website also gives you valuable information and insights that you can use to optimize your website and get better conversion and better website traffic. Some of you have asked me on different platforms, is getting into web analytics a good career option? The answer is plain and simple, yes. The reason why I'm saying this is because there are so many websites out there today, so many small businesses, so many digital businesses that have come out. You want more and more web analysts who can help you achieve your goals and further your cause in your business. Especially over 2020, digital business has boomed like never before. There is a stark need for quality web analysts out there that can help people achieve their goals and meet the target audience. So my question to you is, are you that web analyst who is going to help your customers achieve their goals and meet their target audience? To get into analytics, I suggest that you get a certification from Google Analytics in the first place. After that, I want you to get your hands dirty. What I mean is that I want you to create a website and make sure that you practice everything that you have learned in the certification. After you complete these two steps, I want you to go for advanced certification in Google Analytics. This will not only bolster your position as a potential expert in this line, but it will also showcase your expertise to your potential customers. Next, you need to send out your CV to potential organizations who can give you full-time position in this line of work. Alternatively, don't forget there's always a freelance route which you can take, or maybe start your own small business and make sure that you help yourself when it comes to web analytics. Okay guys, now if you have any questions in this particular lesson, don't forget to mention that in the comment section so that I can help you. I am planning to get deeper into web analytics and create content for you in terms of Google Analytics and maybe Adobe Analytics too. At this point, I'm going to ask you to do one of the best things that you can do right now is subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up and hit the notification bell icon. By doing this, you will get an update every time I upload a video so that you stay on top and track with me in all that I'm doing on digital marketing. Well, that's about it, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Until then, adios.